When you think of a New Zealand summer, what comes to mind? Probably picnics on the beach, open-air concerts, walking in beautiful bush to get some shade and keep cool. There are some things, however, that you would never, ever associate with a Kiwi summer.
Yes, but I did see that it was a guy. Anyway, he comes towards me, Briiih.
Yeah.
Stark naked.
In this week's episode, we're going to share with you some life in New Zealand and lift the lid on a few things that I bet you didn't know about this country.
It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we are back this week from Taranaki to bring you all the gossip of what's been happening in New Zealand for the last 2 weeks.
Yep, and we're sitting on the wrong side.
We're sitting on the wrong side. We've moved the camera. See, what happened is there's been a big storm in New Zealand come through. Lots of damage.
Cyclone Gabrielle.
Yeah.
Or Gabrielle. And it kind of came through and it was with us for about 2 days. And now the sun's come out and away we go. So you're going to hear chainsaws flying around and all sorts of stuff in the background as people are clearing up. And we've got a couple of trees down and stuff, haven't we? So,
yeah. But we just thought it would be nice to bring you to another part of the property, another part of the estate. In case you're new to the channel, we're Liz and Brian, husband and wife.
Yep.
We are British. We moved to New Zealand 13 years ago. We are now officially Kiwis. We like to talk about moving to New Zealand, living in New Zealand, travel, stuff, we basically just like to sit here and chat to you and chew the fat about what's happening. I mean, yeah, that's what we like to do, isn't it?
That's basically it, yeah.
And this week, we have got such a cracker of a show for you. This week, we're going to be talking about, number one, whether the Kiwis have lost their number 8 mentality, because we had a bit of a to-do down the campsite, didn't we, Brian?
It was a bit weird.
We're going to be talking about nakedness in New Zealand. And thirdly, Brian's going to get naked. And thirdly, we're going to be talking about a blunt Kiwiness thing that happened at the cafe last week. And literally, my toes curled and I thought, I've got to talk about this because that is just so Kiwi.
It is. You have to take your hat off the Kiwis on that.
Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I can remember, yes. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
You're all caught up? You ready?
Yes.
Ready to
We're
go?
ready to rock and roll. I don't know what the nakedness was about, though.
Yeah, well, the nakedness is the fact that you're going to get naked at the end of the show and we're going to give them a bit
good.
of a...
Yeah, that'll be well worth waiting for. Get the telephoto out, we'll be sorted.
Oh, and the other thing as well is we've opened our gate and we've got sheep and we've opened our gate. They're pets,
Yeah.
And they might just come and wander around, so we might get to see.
We might get to see them. They're actually in camouflage from all the storm damage of the rimu trees. The rimu trees, these are rimu trees just to our right-hand side here. And they got really Barbie sort of needles, aren't they? And they stick all over the sheep when they fly off.
I know, so they look like they're in camouflage.
Yeah, they've got camouflage all over them.
Right, let's just jump straight into the show. Before we do, though, if you have been through this terrible storm and you've got loads of damage, our love goes out to you. Yeah. Our best wishes go out to you. Like we say, we got off lightly, but... Yeah,
I think the people on the east got it a lot worse than we did over this side, and they were right on the edge of the storm. The mountain kind of protected us where we are, but I know around the coast it might have been a lot worse. And it only happened yesterday, didn't it? So,
So our love goes out to you guys. Stay safe, and hopefully this episode, if you are battened down and inside, will give you some light in your life.
Yes, bit of sunshine.
Well, going down the campsite the other day for a walk, it was just before the storm, wasn't it, Brian? Mm-hmm. And we walked down and...
It was really busy, wasn't it?
It was
because
busy.
Aussie were on it. That's a band.
Yeah, they were playing at the local bar.
Yeah.
And me and Brian said, "Oh, it's busy, isn't it? Like, there's a few tents and lots of caravans and stuff." And we put it down to the fact that people were coming to get away from the storm, although that wouldn't have been a good idea.
I know, but it would have been actually because it was quite protected there, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, so there's this mum and mother. Yeah, her mum, woman and her mother walking behind us. So a lady about my age and her mother walking behind us. And they were having a right old natter, weren't they?
Yeah, but they were.
About the fact that
She was walking with her wine.
Yeah.
Walking along.
I thought, good on you, love. Yeah. I wanted to be her friend when I saw that.
I know.
Walking with their wine, having a good old natter about the fact that they didn't think it was right that people didn't know how to put up a tent without the internet.
She said last night, someone turned up and she said it was really funny, really watching what was going on. And she said this couple had this big tent, brand new tent apparently, and they couldn't put it up. They didn't know how to put it up because there was no internet. You're like, what? Why do you need internet to put a tent up?
Well, they might have done, Brian, because it might have been like a big, complicated tent.
Yeah.
Not everyone is like, handy. But that's the thing. This woman was quite irate. I reckon it was the wine, but she was quite irate about this, wasn't she,
Yeah,
Brian?
she was,
And like Brian said, she was getting a little bit, what has it come to that a Kiwi doesn't know how to put a tent up without the internet? Well, for a start, who cares about that? It doesn't matter. But she seemed to be very concerned about this.
It is. I mean, every tent you get has instructions, and most guys just they throw them away as if like, I don't need instructions. And it's like, I'll check it.
Women put tents up too.
But I know they do, but then they will check it out on the internet. Someone will have done a video on this, and so it's easier to follow, than watching stick drawings and stuff,
Do you know what I brought out of that listening to that? We didn't just listen, we joined in and we were like, oh, that's terrible. Brian would never need the internet to put his tent up. And she was like, yeah, well, that's because you're a true Kiwi, Brian. You're a real man.
Yeah, number 8 wire
you're
and
a
everything.
Proper man who knows stuff about stuff. But what I found interesting, and I couldn't get this out of my head, and this is what I wanted to share with you, is because you're always thinking me and Brian, little nosy Parkers down the cafe. What was her and her mum doing at 7 o'clock at night, sitting or 8 o'clock? She said it was getting quite dark, didn't she?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Spying on the people opposite.
Putting the tent up.
About how they're putting the tent up.
Yeah, but that's what you do on a campsite, though, isn't it?
It made me feel better because it's not just us that's nosy.
See, there you go.
They're doing it too.
Yeah.
We're all right, Brian.
But it's not just the Brit in us being nosy.
So I was like, I got well into it. I was
but
like,
you love that.
Disgusting.
When you've been on a campsite for a few days, isn't it? And then the new person comes in and you're like,
I love it.
Let's
I
see
love
what's
it.
going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing better, is there?
Yeah, because I remember turning up the East Cape. We had a brand new tent from Kathmandu. We'd never put it up before, and we arrived on the East Cape and it was about 8 o'clock at night, maybe it was back end of February, so it was starting to go dark about 9. And I remember thinking, I've never put this tent up before. How the hell am I going to do it? Because I haven't got a clue. You're trying to look at the instructions, but it's too dark. So you turn the car around, get the headlights on. I remember putting that tent up and it was pitch black.
So what did you do?
I just again,
what?
Just used my nonce and flew by the seat of my pants.
Did you, Bri?
I did.
And you got it all right, did you?
All the poles are colour-coded, and then you actually realise, the loops are colour-coded as well, so it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
Even though it was, but...
Tell me this, Brian. Tell me this. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't say this, but I'll be honest, Brian. Going camping with you as a family, I know we've done lots of camping, I know it's really nice and everything like that, but actually, Brian, no, so I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's bloody stressful.
It should be as well.
No, it is, Brian. It's
not
not
supposed to be.
A nice experience. The camping part is nice, but I hate the setting up bit.
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
Yeah.
Even worse than that, Brian, is actually you've ruined the camping experience for us and our family because of your, what's it called when you just, what's that word? Pedantic, but just, you've got to have everything so right when you pack it away, and it was so stressful. Honestly, I don't know if anyone else does this or anyone else's partner does this, but we had to take the tent down and then we had to brush with the bloody sweeping brush.
Yeah, it's the joys of camping.
No, because I look at other people and they're just like, oh yeah, just ram it in the car, babe, come on, let's get back to the house. But me and you and the kids had to watch while you swept the little things up with a sweeping brush, folded it into your little,
It wouldn't be in the bag otherwise.
No, you didn't have to put it in the bag. You could have just done that when we got home.
Do you know what? The reason why that is because we live in the Naki. And it's windy in the Naki. I don't know if you're trying to get a tent out and then try and brush it afterwards. It would just blow away down the off the hill where we live.
I'm just saying, Brian, it was a stressful. It was a stressful experience.
I don't.
I'm glad we don't do it anymore. And I can see why the Kiwis, they're proper Kiwis when they go camping.
Yeah.
They've got the caravan, they've got the tent, the tape, barbecues. I've told you this before. Fridges. It's like a home from home. But I don't like this idea of let's pretend we're camping and, we're going to rough it. And then at the end of the camping trip, it has to be so perfect and so stressful because that's the whole idea of camping, Bri, is it's all rough and ready.
Yeah, it is. But whoever said camping was relaxing, it's not.
Well, it's supposed to be.
End of story.
But it's not with you, no.
It's not. And at night, you can just hear everyone next to you. So I just think, what's the point?
You don't like camping, do you?
No. I like the experience sometimes with the kids and stuff like that because it's just like that side of it's nice and seeing them playing on the, all the stuff and everything. But it really, you're glad to get back to work.
What?
You've got to get back to work.
Nice.
Yeah, go back to work for a rest because it's like, friggin' hell. That camping wasn't much fun.
And it wasn't much fun for us.
Driving
watching
home
you
in the
put
rain,
things
everything's
home.
getting soaked, and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. Hanging it all up in the garage to dry it out, and it's just like, what a nightmare.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So as you can see, our camping trips weren't that successful.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just an interesting point there about the woman spying on the two Kiwis putting their tent up. It's just like, it was funny. Right, number 2 then. Well, you don't know about this. Stop
No.
looking at my notes, please.
I won't look at the notes.
No, don't look at my notes. Well, Briiih,
Yes.
the other day,
Right.
right,
Yes.
you know when I went off on my own for that walk to listen to my podcast?
Yeah.
So I went down to Tapawai Beach, right? So
Well, let's go to the
should I
naked
tell the
beach.
name? Should
No,
I
you
say
shouldn't really said it, really.
You
No.
can cut that out if you want. We went down. Well, no,
Oh, go on.
because I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Went down to the beach, right? There's this beautiful, all the coastline in Taranaki, in case you've never been, is divine. It's wild.
It is lovely.
It's rough and ready. It's energy filled. It's black sand that glistens from the volcano. It's the colours down there are just yellow from the dunes and the black sand and the sparkly blue sea, and it's just energizing. It's magical. It's just, I'm not one for white sand and nice calm sea. I
do
love
like that, but
I
it's
do,
fine,
Briiih,
yeah.
but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I love my Taranaki beaches. I just love them
Yeah.
on the west coast of the North Island. Anyway, so needed a little bit of a pick me up the other day, and I thought I'll just go down to this beach. Now this beach, isn't it? There's absolutely, it's like I say, not a soul on there. It's just beautiful, and
It's pretty hard to get to, isn't it? I suppose you have to.
yeah, you have to walk down like all this like grass and stuff, and like this path, and you can take your dog down there. And it was in the middle of the day, so it wasn't that busy. If you go down there on a Sunday morning, it's busy, isn't
Yeah.
it? Well, busy for New Zealand. But it was in the middle of the day. There wasn't any other cars down there, or maybe in the car park. You know, maybe one, I think. And I thought, oh, I'll just go for a walk. So I'm walking down there, Briiih.
Yeah.
I haven't told you this yet.
No.
Telling you first time. I'm walking down there, right? And I walked right to the end of the beach, and like I say, just not a soul. Actually, let me just jump in. When I first moved to New Zealand, I was actually too scared to do this. I was actually scared to walk on beaches, with no one
yeah.
around.
Yeah,
you know?
because it is very remote, isn't it?
It's
like, you know?
really
Yeah,
remote.
yeah.
But after being here 13 years, I've got quite brave and don't mind walking on my own beaches.
Yeah.
But bear that in mind. So I have had that in my past where I've thought, oh God. Anyway, there I am, walking to the end of the beach, listening to my podcast.
Yeah.
I turn around and I see this figure coming towards me, right? And start walking along, thinking, oh yeah, it's just, I don't know, you're always a little bit, I think that's just an instinct in women, that you see someone, you think, oh my God, you know, is it an attacker or whatever? I don't know. But it comes towards me. I've got terrible eyesight. I wear contact lenses. I'm as blind as about half the time. But I did see that it was a guy. And I thought, okay, that's all right. He hasn't got a dog, but that's fine. Just keep walking. Anyway, he comes towards me, Briiih.
Yeah.
Stark naked. Stark naked, Briiih.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just everything, just
Hanging there.
dangling, just, and you know, when you just like, oh my God, this guy is naked. And like, I just thought, right, where shall I look? That was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because we were both walking towards each other he's naked, obviously. I'm walking next to the sea. And I just thought, well, I can't just give him a wide berth because that's going to look like I'm a right prude. And I'm not, I don't think. I don't want to look. I don't want to say hello because then he's going to think, oh, what? You're trying to get it on
Too
with
late,
me or
Ethel.
something?
You'd seen everything. Jeez.
It's just
Hello, how are you doing?
so awkward. Listen, it was awkward because of me. It wasn't awkward because of him.
Yeah, but it's always going to be awkward, isn't it? Like, you know, no matter what.
What do you think of that, Briiih?
I just think that's a little bit silly. He should have. Do you know what? If you're a gentleman or a man, it's well known that, you know, say you're walking at night on the street and there's a woman walking towards you. It's a quiet road and an estate or something like that. You should be the man and step over to the other side of the road. That's what I was brought up to do. You know,
Right.
so you make her feel safe. And now if he's naked and straight off the bat, you're going to be thinking, as a woman, oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
It's something you don't see every day walking downtown,
It's not.
is
It's
it?
not
Like,
what you
know?
expect to see when you're listening to
Yeah.
your podcast on a Wednesday afternoon,
No,
is it, Briiih?
no, that's it. No,
Willie walking towards you.
that's it. Willy Wonka
Willy
walking,
Wonka.
coming to you, like, you know.
But what could he have done? What? So you're saying he should have given me a wide berth?
He shouldn't. Yeah, he should have stepped back or gone down to the closer to the sea or something or whatever. Like, you know,
But why
just to
though,
give you-
Briiih?
Because that's what you do. Because you know that someone you're going to make them feel uncomfortable. No different if he's wearing, you know, his speedos or something like, you know. But it's slightly different because it is classed as a nudist beach, that one. So you can do what you want,
Well,
I suppose.
Brian,
But-
actually, I've just done some research now. I've
All
done
right.
some research.
You have?
Yeah, I have. Don't look at my notes.
Okay.
For a start, there is no such thing as a nudist beach in New Zealand. There are no allocated nudist
right.
beaches in New Zealand.
It's funny how you think that.
Do you know why that is, Brian?
I really don't know.
Hang on. Because there is no law against being nude on a beach in New Zealand.
Right. Okay.
The only time a law would come in when the police would get involved is if that person is being offensive, intends to offend people. So if you were down there, like, you know, going, "Oh, look at me, I'm naked," you know,
Is that what you do? Is that what you
talk?
talk like? Look at me, I'm naked.
Do you know what I mean, Brian?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
this guy, he wasn't. He
Yeah.
was very, very respectful. He just, we glanced at each other and I smiled because I can't not smile at people. I'm not going to just go like this. And there was only me and him on the beach and no millions of miles from
Yeah,
anywhere. So
yeah.
I wasn't going to be, it was one of those, I didn't feel threatened or anything.
No.
It was more awkward for me than it was for him because you could
Yeah.
tell that he was a what's it called? A, you know, well-seasoned nudist because
A naturist.
a naturist, that's it, because every bit of him was very, very brown. He obviously spent lots of time in the sun, Briiih.
Well,
I
I
had a
hope
good
he's
look.
been putting some cream on it.
I had a good look. Yeah, so got me thinking. It did.
It did.
It did get me thinking
Yeah.
that because New Zealand, it's a weird thing, New Zealand, because I would have thought that they were quite, I mean, there's the kettle calling the pot black. I would have
Yeah.
thought they were quite prudish, like, you know, because as a nation, we're not overly, we don't go around.
Flaunty and stuff.
yeah,
Like,
we
but like, it's like when you go to a Germans, they don't care. They, you know, they really don't, do they? Like, you know, it's just like everything can fly everywhere.
Yeah,
like, you
or
know?
Italians, you know, if you haven't seen our videos on being in Italy, we've just spent the summer in Italy's house sitting. You go to a beach in Italy, everyone's just in their bikini. They're just all over each other, big hugs and
Yeah.
kisses and very lavish with their affections. Kiwis tend not to be like that. They're quite reserved. Like, you know, you don't really see many public displays of affection going on, do you?
No, not like that. No, you know.
So
you
when
don't.
I found out what I'm just about to tell you,
Yes.
it was quite surprising to me, Briiih.
It surprises me that, you know, it's because, I don't know, even in Greece, there's no nudist beach neither, but you find a little spot, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
you know, but here, I didn't know that you can just go nude on a beach.
What do you think about going nude on a beach, Briiih?
Well, I've done it before, so it's not a problem.
All right then. Okay, well, do you want to get nude now then? Show the people that you're not a prude?
I just don't think it's suitable on YouTube and we'd get banned.
But what do you think about, if I said to you now, for
Yeah.
instance, let's go down the beach and get naked? What would
Yeah.
you say?
Well, it's a bit chilly.
Oh, see, it's not chilly,
Seems
Briiih.
a
It's
bit
boiling
chilly.
hot. Oh, the postman's just turned up. Well, I'm going to be delivering some presents for me maybe
There we
for my
go.
birthday.
Yeah.
Right, no, but let's pretend it's not chilly, Briiih. Don't try and get out of it like that. It's boiling hot.
Yeah, it's boiling hot.
I suddenly turn to you and say, Briiih, we're in New Zealand, land
Yeah.
of the free.
Do you know what?
Hang on, let's go down and get our kit off and just have a little walk down the beach together naked. What
Yeah.
would you say?
I'd say yes, but the
You wouldn't.
Well, I would. But if you wanted to do it, I would do it. Like, you know. But the trouble is, you know, the sun's a bit intense over here, and it's like, you know,
Oh, rubbish.
it's there's nothing worse than a bit of flaky skin.
No, I don't think that's that. Anyway, so the facts that I found out about nakedness, actually, I don't think you're supposed to call it nakedness, are you? It's naturalism, is it?
Yeah, it's naturalism,
Being
yes.
natural
Yeah,
in New
yeah,
Zealand is, listen to this, amongst other things, every year, right,
Yeah.
there's a World Naked Bike Ride
Right.
that takes place. It's to hang on, I've written it down, raise awareness for environmental issues.
Yep.
And that takes place on the Otago Railroad every year.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Do you know what? I've never been a great one for saddles up your bum without a piece of lycra in between.
I don't know, Briiih. I'm thinking, like, once you got over the initial we're naked,
Yes.
because at the end of the day, we're all born naked, aren't we?
Oh, of course we are.
And we turn into these people that have to be clothed and all the rest of it.
Yeah, but it's like you brought it with those Victorian standards and that's what you were. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, goodness, you can't do that.
But after you get over that, it would be
Yeah.
quite fun, wouldn't it, Briiih?
Well, it's just letting it all hang out. It's just like, why not?
Okay, I'm just going to move on. I'm sensing a little bit that you're a little bit uncomfortable. I can tell because you're doing this with your mouth. You go like this. And when you do that,
Yeah.
it means that you're a little bit uncomfortable. Anyway, so
Okay.
I'll carry on. I'll tell you another thing, and then I'm going to tell you a story about our naked adventure.
Okay.
Anyway,
I think I should read the notes now.
Guess what, Briiih?
What's
Guess
that?
what
Go on then.
Guess what they do in Dunedin. Dunedin, they're all full of nutters down there, honestly. They don't care what they do.
Yeah.
Guess what they do in Dunedin every year? Guess what they do naked. Every year in
I
Dunedin?
don't know, roll down that steep hill, I suppose,
No,
naked.
No.
Yeah.
Go on, what?
I don't know.
They play rugby every year.
Yeah.
They do a naked rugby game in New Zealand. Naked. I'll say naked again. I've said it 5 times now.
Is this just the males or is it the females
I don't
as
know,
well?
actually. I didn't look at that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But naked rugby, Briiih.
Naked rugby. Well, it's not far off naked rugby. What if you got a little tiny bit of shorts that are so high up? I mean, I'm not a great rugby fan, so.
You are, Briiih. You love rugby. You're always watching it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I do like the beautiful game, but yeah, it's like rugby to me, grab a hold of someone's backside all weekend.
The thing with
I don't
naked
know.
rugby, Briiih, what are you on about? Grabbing someone's
Well,
backside?
that's what you do in the scrum. What you doing in the scrum?
The thing with naked rugby is it's not one of those, because they also play golf and they, bike ride, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Golf, no one's going to come and tackle you, are they? But naked rugby is like, there's a lot of contact, Briiih, isn't there? A lot of physical contact there.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So
And
what you
if
grabbing
just-
hold of?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What if you pulled something by accident, like, It's like,
What's that? Oh, I don't know.
oh, anyway.
Anyone for a
so-
sausage roll?
Anyway, I just thought it was interesting.
I think it's brilliant. Anyone that can do something like that, it's just for raising money and stuff like that and awareness. I take the hat off to you, because.
Do you reckon we're a bit prudish, Briiih, being British? Are we a bit
that's what I say.
prudish?
Yeah, we are.
I
'Cause
am.
that Victorian upbringing,
Yeah.
it's that same type of values that are instilled into you, programmed
Yeah.
into you. And it's great. When we used to go to Greece for the summers, we just that's it. We'd go
But
to,
we
we'd
were
go to the-
young then, Briiih.
I know, but we go
You
to
don't
the
mind
nudist
getting naked
beach,
when you're young, do you?
No, you don't. I
Who
don't.
wants to see a couple of old spogies getting naked on a rugby match? Anyway, my story that I was going to tell you was when me and Briiih got married, we went to Jamaica on our honeymoon. This is when we still lived in England, in Bath. We had a cafe, we had lots of cash. We had a cash business. That's another story I should tell you about, is when we ran this cafe in Bath together. I only needed to tell you that we had lots of cash because we had plenty of money to go and have this lovely holiday, this honeymoon in Jamaica that was an all-inclusive resort. Do you remember when all the rage was everyone would go to like an all-inclusive? And
Yeah, it was like Sandals, I think, was a big resort, wasn't
Yeah.
it? There was a Sandals resort next to the one that we were on. I think it was in Blood Bay we were staying or something. It was
Yeah.
a real nice
it
place,
was
wasn't it?
posh. It was so posh. Like I say, this is before we had kids and before we were broke.
Yeah.
But, when we had nothing else to spend our money on. But we went to this resort in Jamaica on our holiday and it was top notch. It was right on the beach. It was all inclusive. And sometimes when people say, oh, it's all inclusive, but it's not. And you're like, oh yeah, but you've got to pay for the drinks. It's like, this was all
Everything,
inclusive.
everything was. I mean, and it was good, all branded drinks and stuff. The only thing that was not included was if you wanted, I think they used to use Mum champagne. If you wanted something better than that, then you had to pay for it.
What's it called? Mum champagne?
I think it's Mum, isn't it? MUM.
Oh, okay.
Was it? Is it whether that's but it was champagne.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. It was like
It
that
was
was
lovely.
that was the standard sort of, or Moe, you could have Moe and stuff. But if you wanted something more expensive, then
You'd get up in the morning, or you just walk out. Your loungers were on the beach. This is when it was white sand and very calm. You could go water skiing, snorkeling, all included. You got banana bread brought to you fresh Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee.
It was
and
gorgeous,
then
yeah.
at lunchtime, you'd be, I fancy a chicken sandwich. Like, oh, yeah.
Snapper sandwich.
Just call for a snapper sandwich and they'd bring it to you. And then in the afternoon, you're like, oh, I fancy a cocktail. Oh, yeah, let's just have a cocktail. It was gorgeous. Absolutely
great.
lovely.
Fresh lobster in the evening and all that kind of stuff. It was great.
And then one evening, we were like, because we didn't really move away from we just went from beach to restaurant to beach to restaurant. And one evening we said, let's go and have a walk round, let's go and see what's going on. And we were walking around the resort, weren't we? And up around this little path in these trees, it was sort of like, they were like, I don't know if they were pine trees or some sort of native
there had
trees.
just been palm trees.
All I remember is they were hanging over and there was lights on them. And I thought, you like when you're drawn to something, you're like, oh, what's that? What's that little Red Riding Hood? Oh, And I looked around and on this raised platform was a massive big hot tub, a jacuzzi, spa, whatever you call it, all made of wood. And there was these people sitting in it. And it was like, it wasn't reserved for like private people or anything. It was like for us to use. We could go anywhere we wanted on the park, in the resort.
In the resort, yeah.
And we were in our swimsuits because we'd just been down to the beach. And I was like, oh my God, should we go and get in that hot tub?
Because there wasn't a hot tub over by us, was there?
No, there wasn't.
No.
We'd only been in the sea and we was like, that'd be nice. Let's go and have a hot tub. And, there's waiters around that you can call for champagne and stuff like this. It was super nice. Anyway, we walk over to the hot tub and there are all these people in there and they've got, like when you put your arms on the hot tub like this. And so
on the edge,
you could see their arms. But the bubbles were like blah, 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 bubbling up around their chin. So we couldn't see their bodies.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay. So, and we're like, hi, can we join you? In our swimsuits.
They went, yes, you can.
Yeah, they did. They're like, yeah, sure, hop in. Anyway, so me and Briiih get in the hot tub and like I say, all these bubbles and it was going dark. There was twinkly, sparkly lights. So you couldn't, see masses. And we're in there and we're chatting and I don't know, there was something, didn't feel quite right, did it,
No,
Briiih?
they're very friendly.
They were very friendly.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're chatting away and then we get all hot and we're like, going to get out in a minute. And the couple that was sitting next to us said, and they were really nice. And they were like, oh, if you fancy coming back to ours, we'd love to have you on the veranda for a couple of cocktails, didn't they, Briiih?
Yeah.
Oh, we said, yeah, that would be nice. Like, what's your room number? Because you can just dial internally and just call the room number and arrange to meet them. Anyway, they stood up out the hot tub.
Sat on the hot tub edge.
Yeah, sat on
Eye level.
Completely starkers. And it was like,
hello.
Oh, yeah. It's like, oh, no.
Cocktails it is.
And when you're like, yeah, exactly. When you're like, okay, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to put my eyes anywhere.
Too late, Ethel.
Yeah. It was so funny. And we found out later that whole part of the park, God knows how we didn't know about that.
Yeah, but I don't know why we didn't get... how did they know that we weren't? Maybe you could tick a box.
Yeah.
The naturist side. You wanted to be in that side. We just booked with Thompson's, I think it was.
Yeah, and it was all naturist, and it was just it was flipping hilarious because we were only in our late 20s and we were trying to be so hip and so, oh yeah, this doesn't bother us, but really I'm thinking, oh my God, what are we doing?
We were probably you were probably one of the youngest people there.
Yeah. And when you're looking at everyone else and you're thinking, please don't stand up, let us just get out and leave. So maybe we are prudish and just a bit, but it was just funny. It was funny because we didn't know and we just stepped right into it. And
by mistake,
Yeah.
But then you find out these things.
Yeah, but they had everything, Briiih. They had tennis courts, restaurants, naked restaurants,
Yeah, I spent most of the holiday there.
Yeah. So that was that. It was funny. Oh, by the way, as well, someone on the comments said, you're not drinking tea. If that was tea, it'd be cold. Excuse me, mister.
Is the tea
This
pot.
is tea.
It is.
I did say
jasmine green tea, actually.
Yeah, I did say you'd know if we were drinking alcohol. Seriously, you'd know.
Yeah, you would.
I'd be naked. Oh, so what was the last thing that I had to talk to you about? Oh, the thing at the cafe, wasn't it?
It's always the cafe, isn't it? Yeah. The little high tide cafe.
In case you don't know, we've told you this before, but in case you're new to the channel, we have this little triangle of activity that we go from our house to the Foursquare, to the cafe, to the beach, and then home again.
Yeah.
So we tell lots of stories that came from the cafe. And this one was just...
It was you were just overheard it. I didn't really hear what she'd said, but
What about you, Briiihh? You don't listen. You're too busy talking.
Too busy drinking my coffee.
No, you're too busy gabbing and not keeping your ear open for interesting things that are happening.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're talking and I just drone out. I'm just like,
Yeah, but you're constantly like
Briiihh.
that. What was that?
I know, I am because other people are very interesting to me.
But the trouble is I always sit with my back to the cafe, so you see what's going on, and I never do. So people have to come in front, or I have to turn around, then it looks rude, like I'm listening.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about this because this is something that happened, and it makes me realise, even though I've lived in New Zealand for 13 years, going on 14 actually, probably now,
Yep.
I will never ever be that. I'll never have that Kiwi-ness-ism,
No,
you know,
you don't.
that they've got. And this is why I'm going to tell you, right? So a lady comes up with her dog and goes to she walks past me and Briiihh, morning, morning. She goes to the door of the cafe. She shouts in for a coffee. It's a great cafe, High Tide. Go and check them out in Old Quarter. It's lovely. Shouts in for a coffee. Oh, can I get a cappuccino? And then stands outside with her dog in the door. So she's just there now in the doorway with her dog. There's 3 tables outside the cafe. Mine and Briiihh's. Woe betide you if you sit on our table. That is our table. Mine and Briiihh's table, another table in the middle, and another table after that. And there was a man sitting on the other table after that. So 3 tables, 1 man on the far end, me and Briiihh on this end, the woman standing at the door with the dog.
Yep.
Keeping up?
I've got it now.
Yeah, you got it?
Yep.
Anyway, over the road from the Foursquare comes this beautifully dressed lady, high heels, skirts, very businessy looking.
I would say real estate.
Real estate, would you?
I think so,
Yeah?
yeah. I think she is, isn't she?
Yeah. Why did you just say that with a sort of like?
I don't know. Why can't they just wear jeans?
Well, professional.
Okay.
Real estate. Oh, you don't even know she was a real estate. Why are you saying that?
Because I've seen a picture on, you know,
haven't.
they do real estate for some unknown reason. In England, they don't do it. They don't put the pictures up on...
Oh,
there's one in town with, what are they called? J-Team or something like that, or Czar Team. And it's just like, the skirts can't get any shorter.
No, well, that's no wonder. Why wouldn't you?
You may as well just go to nudist beach. Next stop.
Harcourt.
Yeah.
We do everything naturally.
Honestly. Come on.
Anyway, no, Briiihh, stop it.
Okay.
Stop being such a
We
prude.
don't need to see you. Just sell in our house.
Hey.
Go on.
Hey. Hey.
Don't get me started with the real estate. Sorry, Dan.
Anyway, this beautifully dressed lady turns up, and they obviously knew each other, the lady and the dog and her, and they're like, hi, like, she's, hello, how are you? And she gives her a big hug. Actually, you know, just contradict what I've just said about what New Zealanders never give each
never
other
do.
hugs. And she's like, I haven't seen you for ages, the woman with the dog says. And she's like, same. She said, how are you? And she goes, oh, I've been busy, you know, so-and-so's moved off to uni now. And the woman with the dog said, do you fancy sitting down and having a coffee together and a catch-up? The woman in the suit didn't take a breath. She went, no, I'm actually having a meeting with someone else, but another time. And then she just walked away and sat down with the guy with the suit.
It was just like...
And I just thought, oh my God, if that was me, I hope I can talk for all Brits here, because honestly, if that was us, if that was me, I would have been like, how about we do it next week? Should we do it next? Do you want to join us? I would have just bumbled
through it, like, you know.
I would.
Yeah, let's go and get the coffee together inside, and we can have a chat for 5 minutes. Why, you know?
Yeah,
but no, she was like bummed.
Oh, let's catch up, or you have to come over for a drink, or I would have just bumbled. And the way this woman just went, no, I'm doing something with someone else, but we'll do it another time. And that was that.
Yeah.
And the woman with the dog didn't look offended. She was just like, that was just normal, like, you know.
Well, it is kind of, isn't it, when you think about it? But, you know.
It is, and I wish I was like that, Briiihh.
Yeah.
I wish I could say what I felt without having to keep making myself sound like a bumbling fool by making other people think that I'm not a horrible person.
Yeah.
Because, oh no, it's not, you know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you do. Well, that's the English side of you, isn't it? Like, you know, you
I
don't want
so.
to offend anyone. Like, you know,
Yeah.
let me think about that, and what time is it again?
Yeah. It's just that down the lineness, you know, and it's not offensive. And I think Americans are the same.
The Americans are pretty similar.
To the point. If they don't want to do something, no, I'm not going to do it. I can't do that now, no. But like I say, it's just something that I listened to it and I just thought, oh my God, I'd love to be like that.
It's so easy when they say it.
It is.
That's how easy it is.
It is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if well, you're quite good at that. I must admit, you're good at.
But
you're
you do
better than
from
I
being
am.
in business. You just got to realise I'm not being a friend right now. This is business, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and like you say, you know, it's not so much as no friends in business. You just have to be businesslike and say that. But it's weird when you've got a friend and you're then being businesslike. It's not like, do you know what? I'll call you later, and then I'm going to go and see this guy. But the way she just went, no, I'm meeting, and bump, she was gone.
Yeah.
And she's obviously, you know. She didn't want to keep the guy waiting any longer.
No.
You know? Obviously, needed to sell his house, like, you know, because he was going to hand over 25 grand or something.
Shut up, Briiih.
Anyway,
So that was that, and it was just one of those things, one of those moments sometimes when you live in a different country. Although you class yourself as, oh yeah, we're Kiwis, we've been here 13 years, and we do in so many ways, but those deep, you know, traits, those
the early programming.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It stays with you. It's hard to get that back out.
It is.
You know,
it is.
And reprogram yourself.
Yeah, and it's when you realise that, you know, although, like I say, you speak the same language and everything like that, you're just a different way, you know.
Yeah,
It's
it
just-
is. You know, you hear the way that people, even down the cafe, will talk to us when they talk to the Kiwis. The same when you talk to an English person, it's a bit more warmth. It's just a little bit different, isn't it? Because you know how far you can take your humour. You know how far you can do this because that's what you've grown up with, and that's always the hard part when you move to a different country, isn't it?
You know why no one talks to us down the cafe bar? You know that, don't you?
Because I have my hoodie up and glasses on and don't look at anyone.
No, they just sit there and just go, oh, look at her listening again.
Look at that guy,
Not
he's naked again.
Not even listening to her husband, look, and he's sitting there naked. Wouldn't you think she'd say
Look at
something?
me, I'm naked.
Right.
As you do when you're on the beach.
And on that note, we are going to say goodbye. Well, what
Yeah.
time are we?
We're about 30 odd minutes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being with us. As always, you know, we just love having you here. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for listening to the audio podcast of It's a
Yes.
Drama.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, we also do a weekly audio podcast. So when I say audio podcast, we don't sit here and talk in front of a camera.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more personal, maybe I want to say. But you are loving that, and we get so many views and so many comments and so much support, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous to know that you're here with us.
Well,
So
the great thing with the audio podcast is you can just get in the car and then whack it on.
yeah,
and put it
you
on
can't beat seeing us, can you, Briiih?
No, you can't. No, yeah. I mean, it's always a setup with cameras and try and find somewhere that you got the right light and you're not getting too hot from the sun and all that sort of stuff. And you know, obviously we're naked from the bottom half down. You
don't know
can't be
this.
in shot.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so keep being you. Thank you so much for all your support, and I will speak to you next week.
So again, kia kaha, stay strong. Kia u, stay true. Stay naked also.
Bye.
Especially when you're showering. And see you now.
Bye.
Biggest mistake people make is when they think they know all about a country and what's happening there because of what they've read on social media or what they've heard on the news. This week, we wanted to share with you some typical New Zealand things that happen every day when you're living your life in New Zealand.
And that, and my heart feels a bit racy. Anyway, when I dropped her home, she got out the car and I looked at the piece of paper that they give you, you know, the ECG paper, you know, the thing with the graph going up and down it.
The one that goes up and down. Yeah.
And it wasn't hers.
So let's jump into the show where we're going to share with you 3 very real things, both good and bad, that actually do happen in New Zealand.